American Morning, the most news in the morning, period. Weekdays 6 Eastern.
An Air France passenger jet. It was en route from Rio de Janeiro to Paris. 228 people on board. It's missing. Air France says that the Airbus jet sent an automatic signal indicating there were some electrical problems while going through strong turbulence. They also say this plane crossed through a thunderous zone with strong turbulence, and they talk about the possibility of an electrical circuit malfunction. Also that possibly this jet was struck by lightning. Joining me now on the phone is Captain John Cox, former U.S. Air Flight Captain, President and CEO of Safety Operating Systems. John, thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning.
So when they talk about the possibility of lightning, isn't getting struck by lightning fairly common? And what are your thoughts on whether or not it could bring down an Airbus?
It's very unlikely that a lightning strike would actually bring the airplane down. Commercial airliners are designed to take lightning strikes. They're tested for it. There's quite rigorous testing. It is not uncommon for aircraft to be struck by lightning in the course of a year's flying. It's not uncommon for airplanes to experience that. And so that for this airplane, as modern and as well designed as the A330 is, to be considered likely to be brought down by lightning, I would find that very hard to believe.
All right, and according to the latest information we have, when this flight left Rio about 7 p.m. local time on last night, about 4 hours later is when this automatic signal indicating electrical problems happened while going through strong turbulence, according to Air France. What does that give you, if any, indication on what might have happened?
Well, one thing to understand is the electrical problems. The fact that they received that signal says that there were the part of the electrical system was certainly functional. And what they have not specified is what sort of message that was. If it is a routine SATCOM message, the way that they would communicate with air traffic control, and they may have put in the remarks section that they had experienced some form of an electrical anomaly. But the A330, like all modern jets, has very redundant systems of electrical, hydraulic, and pneumatic. All the systems in the airplane are redundant. And so the loss of one part of it does not necessarily create a full-blown emergency.
John, hi, it's John Roberts, Kieran's partner here in New York, speaking with you now. Even if you did lose power in that aircraft, it can still fly. It could still fly to a potential dead stick landing, could it not?
It could, but also recognize that the engines do not require electrical power. Mm-hmm. Once a jet engine's running, it will run based exclusively on fuel and air. It already has the ignition because the fireball within a jet never actually shuts off. So even electrical problems, unlike your car, they could shut the engine down. With a jet engine, it would continue to run.
Yeah, but as we saw with U.S. Airways Flight 1549, even if this aircraft lost both engines, you can still control the aircraft?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have seen this type of aircraft actually do a dead stick landing in the Azores. A company called Air Transat, a Canadian carrier, had an A330 that lost power on both engines, and they were successful in getting it into the airport in the Azores.
We're getting a little bit of information from an Air France news conference that took place. It was in France, in French. We're getting some translations on that. But a couple of the things, they're saying that this was a new plane, the Airbus 330, that there were experienced technical experts on the plane, a highly experienced crew on board. They went on to say clearly there's been failure in the aircraft. They also said that some of the messages they got showed failure of several components. They also used the words crisis and serious situation. Right now, what does that indicate to you?
That if they have a serious situation and they have advised air traffic control, they're probably going to initiate a divert to somewhere, and that would indicate the seriousness of it. Which would concur with potentially why the Brazilians have chosen the area of the Atlantic to search that they have. They may very well have advised them, air traffic control, of a desire to land at a different airport. If there were problems with the systems on the airplane, they would depend on the emergency systems or the redundant systems to give them the navigation, communication, and the ability to control the airplane to a landing.
And John, you know, as we saw with U.S. Airways Flight 1549, Captain Sullenberger and his co-pilot put that aircraft down in just meticulous fashion in the Hudson. I mean, you could do that in ocean swells as well, but you know that's a completely different landing environment, is it not?
It is. Open ocean is quite difficult. And the times that it has been tried have had mixed results. It has been done successfully. There was a DC-930 in the late 70s that was an open ocean ditching down in the Caribbean, and it was successful. They did have some fatalities on the airplane, but and then you look at the Ethiopian airplane, which was a hijack condition. There have been a few, but the idea that they would have to ditch an A330 is pretty remote. I think that they would be much more, the crew would be considering much more a landing at a diversion airport.
Right. John Cox, it's good to talk to you this morning. Thanks for sharing your expertise about the Airbus A330. Appreciate it.